Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Opie Radio Podcast. If you're streaming this particular episode, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe on your podcast app. With that said, on today's episode, I'm going to be talking to Chris from Fish Guy Photos on Instagram. He's a good friend of mine. You might remember him. He's done a few episodes for me already. We went whale watching together. We went hunting with his red-tailed hawk, Emmy. And we also hung out at Mustache Brewery in Riverhead with my brother, where I had made my brother very uncomfortable telling old family stories. So today it's Chris from Fish Guy Photos. By the way, if you like the ocean life like I do, his drone shots and his underwater photography in and around Long Island is second to none. Really, really well done. Today we're going to be talking about sharks. Let's do this.
Hello.
What's going on, Chris? What's up?
How's everything?
I'm tired, man. As you know, I got a puppy. I think I'm too old to be getting a puppy. It's like having a third kid. What was I thinking? But oh my God, it was a long, long night, and I think I might be allergic to the puppy, even though it's supposed to be hypoallergenic.
Oh, no way. That stinks. I'm with you on the allergic part, man. I can't be around dogs at all. That's why we have standard poodles, which I'm pretty good with. I don't have any issues with them.
Yeah, but poodles are nasty.
No.
They got terrible attitudes. I see them walking around New York City, and they're very pretentious.
Those are the froofy ones. Mine aren't froofy.
They walk around like their shit don't stink. And when they shit on the streets in New York City, they look at the owner like, yeah, that's right. Pick that shit up. I'm moving on. I hate poodles.
Well, you know what? We'll change your mind. We'll try to take one hawking next time. We'll go out with Emmy.
Yeah, that would be cool, man. But anyway, thanks for the help, by the way, with the pup. We're trying to figure out how it's nipping the hell out of all of us. But at this point, it's almost shitting and peeing exclusively outside, which is amazing because we've only had it for like 2 weeks.
That's awesome. Once you get past that point, man, it gets a lot easier.
Well, yeah, but the biting is out of control, man. Out of fucking control. I don't know what you're supposed to do because I'm an older guy. You're an older guy, not as old as me. And when we were growing up and when we had dogs, it was really easy. It was a tennis ball to play with, and it was a rolled up paper if he misbehaved, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, I definitely remember that as a kid, but that's not the way anymore, especially when your wife's an animal trainer.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
yeah. My wife's an animal trainer, professional animal trainer, marine mammal trainer.
Wow.
And does a lot of work with dogs as well. And
yeah,
you don't do that anymore.
No, we didn't know better is my point, because I think people that just heard that are horrified, because of this new world we live in. But we didn't have books. We didn't have all these special chooch toys. We had nothing, man. Literally nothing. You would just grab a dog, and then you were on your own, and the damn thing would pee and shit all over your house because you couldn't even understand how to figure that out. And eventually they started peeing and shitting outside.
Training has come a long way, man. And I mean, man, our poodles. My wife had them ringing a bell to go outside within a couple weeks.
Of course she did. The stupid poodle. I'm ringing the bell.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't help my argument with the poodle thing.
I'm ringing the bell. Why are you taking so long? Open the door. I'm ready to shit. I don't know why you had to say poodles. I'm so triggered. I don't like poodles. I don't like yip yap dogs. I'm scared of German shepherds. I'm more scared of German shepherds than actually pit bulls, if you need to know. Because I got nipped by one on a paper route when I was 12, 13 years old, and I never forgot it, man.
That'll mess you up. That'll keep a memory in your head for a while.
Of course it would. I still got the scar on the inside of my left knee. I don't know why I'm so angry. I'm sure your poodles are delightful. What kind of food do you feed them? Filet mignon?
Some sort of bag of food. That's my wife's department. I take care of my hawk. She takes care of the dog. Dogs.
Very nice. I don't even know why I'm being such a dick, because I know I'm going to be calling your wife soon and begging her for help with this dog.
Yeah, don't say bad stuff about poodles, man, or she ain't going to help you.
And also, thanks for the tip on the tick thing.
Yeah, it's been bad this season. It's been really bad.
I've knocked 3 ticks off my body. I'm constantly checking my kids because, we tapped out of the city, as most people know, and we're living that ocean life. But the problem is, man, wherever you walk, there's ticks. I got a tick just on the beach where there was nothing. There's nothing growing. I didn't understand that one, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of deer around, especially in the beach communities, and they'll live up in that beach grass and stuff too. So pretty much any tall grass you got to watch, And like I said, with last winter being so mild, it's just been a really bad season this year. It seems there's nothing to really knock them back a little bit. They're just. And now they were pretty out of hand. I live in the middle of the Pine Barrens, so it's really bad over there.
Oh my God! And now having a puppy that wants to just explore and go through all the beach grass and stuff where there's tons of ticks, I'm like, just great. So we're constantly, checking the puppy already. I'm sure the poodle will just tell you, I got a tick. Get the tweezers. I'm not going to wait all day. But I was driving the car. I know we're going to talk about sharks in a minute. And I was thinking about my fear of sharks. And the one thing that I'm scared more of than sharks, I could say, is ticks. So I'm driving home, and all of a sudden I feel this thing on the back of my neck, and it's a bug crawling. And I'm used to like mosquitoes and bugs and stuff. So I reach back as I'm driving, and I pull this thing that was just starting to latch onto the back of my neck. And I pull it around to look at it, and it's a tick. And I went, I had fear immediately, and I almost drove off the road, Chris. I'm not even joking. That's how scared I am of ticks. They creep me the fuck out. And then I swerved. I realized I swerved, and then I was able to get over to the shoulder of the road. Now I go into complete panic going, oh, my God, I got Lyme disease. And then I'm like studying this thing, and then I threw it out the window. Then I wasn't sure if I actually threw it out the window, or if it latched back onto the car and it was going to come back into my car. No joke, just complete panic over a stupid tick. So as you know, I texted you immediately and help the people out there, because I know a lot of people are definitely very afraid of ticks and Lyme disease. Walk me through that real fast.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely a problem. I mean, when again, living in the Pine Barrens, unfortunately I deal with them quite a bit, and you just want to get them off as quickly as possible, and try to remove, if it bit in, and you want to make sure you get the whole thing out. You don't want to leave any of it there, and then keep an eye on it. The biggest thing is that bullseye. As long as if you see like a little bullseye rash around it, you definitely want to go to the doctor. And and if you have other concerns, it can't hurt to give your doctor a call and say, hey, I was bit by a tick, because you'd much rather get on some sort of medication or treatment as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, the bigger problem it can be. But that telltale sign is definitely that bullseye that forms afterwards. But you just want to stay on top of it. I
always assumed if you got bit by a tick, it immediately pretty much meant you get Lyme disease, but that's simply not the case, right?
If that was the case, I would have had it every other day, it seems like, because I get bit quite a bit. I've been tested several times, just for normal physicals and stuff like that, and knock on wood, I haven't had that or any of the other nasty diseases you can get from them. I mean, Lyme disease is probably the least of my worries. There's another one that I would hate to get called alpha gal, I believe it's called, and it's a meat allergy, where you're then all of a sudden allergic to red meat. So beef, pork, all that kind of stuff. You can't eat it anymore. You get you could die from eating it. And I know quite a few people have gotten that one.
Why are you worried about that? Why are you worried about that? And why are you putting that fear in my head?
Well, I like to eat meat. As you know, you've had my venison, you've had my squirrel, and rabbit, and
yes.
I could live on a fish diet. I eat plenty of fish, but I definitely would miss a good burger, or a good steak, or something like that. So that one makes me nervous.
I'm getting more and more away from the red meat, and I completely saved our environment last night. I had a meatless burger. You and Carl hated when I used to talk about this too, but I had a meatless burger. I mean, it's saving the environment. Let's just ignore the fact that it's wrapped in plastic and then it's also in a plastic tray, individually wrapped in a plastic tray in a box. But I'm still doing my part to save the environment, Chris.
Yep, of course. Right. Yeah.
I got to be honest, though, man. These meatless burgers and the vegetarian burgers, they've come a long way for real. And I know as soon as I say this, people are going to just tune me out. But I'm surprised how good they actually taste. I thought I would just eat a meatless burger as in, just to try to stay healthy and just kind of muster through it, or muscle through it, I should say. But you put a big slice of tomato on there, maybe some cheese if you're into that, and some pickles, and a nice bun that's toasted. I'm telling you, man, it's really comparable.
Yeah. I take it for some. I'm not gonna doubt that it maybe tastes good, but I just don't like the fact that it's called a burger. Call it something else. That's just my thing. It's like I'm not knocking it. Tastes good or bad or whatever, but I don't know. When I think burger, I'm thinking, big old piece of beef or.
That was the rap I used to have with Patrice O'Neill, because he was a vegetarian, and I said, look, man, when they say it's like vegetarian chicken parm, and then you bite into this, you're like, it's cardboard with some sauce and some mozzarella. I always said the same thing, like you can't call it, vegetarian chicken parm, because you're expecting the taste of chicken parm, and then you're very disappointed. But I now am changing my tune on that, because these meatless burgers, I'm surprised they're getting really, really close to it actually tasting like a burger. And then they use the beets to make it look like it's bloody when you bite into the damn thing.
Yeah. Like I said, I'd much rather stick with just a different name for it, and I think I'd be on board a little bit more.
There you go. I'm gonna have you over after this coronavirus thing, and we're gonna have some Beyond Meat or meatless burgers, and I am gonna record it, and you're gonna be very, very surprised.
Hey, that's fair, man. Because like I said, I made you eat squirrel, rabbit, and venison, and a few other crazy things. So I'm game. I'm up for that.
Yeah, I mean. I thought I would hate the Squirrel Soup, and that was the best thing you made at Mustache Brewery, man. It was excellent. I still couldn't get past the fact that I was actually eating squirrel, but as I was doing it for the podcast, I was like, damn, this is really good. And as you know, I went in for seconds. So,
yeah, and you asked for a to-go container, too, which I was even shocked about that. I was like, wow, he's even taking some to go, and that was after the podcast. So, man, it's good stuff.
I got to be honest, though, when I got home with the to-go, I threw it away. I was done eating squirrel at that point. That's my point. Like, for the podcast in front of you, and we're drinking beers at Mustache, I'm telling you, it was delicious, and I would absolutely eat it if it was the only thing around. But then I couldn't get it out of my head that it was squirrel by the time I got home. And then I was kind of done with it. I gotta be honest.
All right, that's all right. So we'll bring some more for when we do the fake meat stuff. We'll have some squirrel soup as a side or an appetizer.
All right, deal. Let's talk about sharks, man. There's a lot of shark sightings this year on Long Island, especially, and I'm hearing my 2 cents that it's because the ocean water's a bit on the warm side. No.
There's a lot of different reasons for it, and recently there was that sighting of and supposedly was caught a bull shark off of like Lido Beach, Nickerson Beach, west, Nassau. And when I first heard the reports of bull shark, I was like, it's probably highly unlikely. I mean, they've been documented as far as their migrations, and that's just a shark that's typically not here on Long Island, But as you mentioned, things are a hell of a lot warmer this summer. And as the ocean gets warmer, things are kind of shifting north. So, again, it's not out of the realm of things. So for something like a bull shark or, Frequently, we've seen tiger sharks, and not the sand tigers, which are always here, which also get big, but the actual tiger shark. That's a more tropical species. In the last couple of years, we've seen a few of them. I actually got some pretty cool drone footage last 4th of July, not this 4th of July, last year, of a big tiger shark off of Long Island, and so those are more warm water stuff. But then a lot of these other sharks are here just because their populations are starting to kind of rebound. Sharks were fished heavily, and still to this day are fished heavily.
Yeah.
I mean, we kill millions and millions of sharks every year.
Wait, why do we kill so many sharks? Because most people don't eat them. I think they're toxic to eat because they pee through their skin or whatever. They're right?
Well, that's a pretty common misconception. So shark meat is actually quite tasty.
Really?
Some species are more sought after than others, like Mako shark.
Yeah.
Locally, thresher shark is another one that is fished for. And yes, they do urinate through their skin, but there are ways to, when they catch a shark, they bleed it. So they'll bleed it, get all the blood out, and that gets all the urea out. And then they're quite delicious. So again, some species have been fished down to really low levels, so they were protected, are now prohibited to even fish for. So like sandbar sharks, dusky sharks, sand tigers, they're all prohibited species, so you're not even allowed to target them. The other thing too is their food we protected their food. So I know you do a lot of fishing. You know about bunker and menhaden. We've talked about that on the whale episode.
Oh yeah.
They made a huge comeback because of regulations, and now that's why we see all those whales, dolphins, and the sharks. It's food for all of them. And they're needed. They're definitely needed. They're an important part of our ecosystem.
They're not needed if you're going for a little swim. Your drone footage and your underwater photography is just so awesome. You got a video of drone footage of a bunker pod, and there were fish feeding off the bunker pod. What fish were they, by the way?
Yeah, that last one I put up were a bottlenose dolphin.
Gorgeous.
It was cool, man, because they just pulled them up. I schooled them up into like a little bait ball.
Yeah.
And then they would just pick them off one by one.
Yeah.
Or they'd swim through it and hit them with their tail and just stun them and then turn around and eat them. It was pretty wild, man, just watching them tear those bunker apart.
I'm telling you got to go to Chris's YouTube channel, Fish Guy Photos. He's got some great drone footage. Anyway, so sharks. People are just completely scared shitless of sharks. And you were talking about some of the species. There's actually 350 different species, but worldwide, and we have a lot of them. We don't have that many here, but we have more than I think most people think. Yeah.
Me and my colleagues have tagged in the last 5 years. We've tagged 31 juvenile white sharks here on Long Island.
That's awesome.
Which is the great white.
Right.
We got great hammerheads, scalloped hammerheads. Brown, black-tip sharks, spinner sharks. So the list goes on as far as the species, and they're all your typical big shark. We definitely have the sand sharks that I'm sure you're familiar with fishing. We get them on the shore. That's another shark species.
I just wanted to jump in because when I'm fishing and I catch the sand sharks, they're also called dogfish, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Smooth dogfish, yeah.
So it's so funny, man. You get these, I call them farmers. I got that term from Andrew Dice Clay a million years ago. You got these farmers. They're like the clueless people, right? And they're walking the beach, and they see me pulling in a sand shark, and especially sometimes I get like a 3-foot sand shark off the beach. And they're looking like, oh my God, he caught a baby shark. He caught a great white. They just go right to great white. And then I see these stupid farmers, and I know they're looking at me, so I just casually put my fingers right in its mouth, and they're like, oh my God, he's putting the fingers in its mouth. Harry, get your camera out. And, long story short, the sand sharks have, honestly, no teeth or kind of sandpapery teeth. They're not going to hurt you is the point there.
Yeah, no, they crush up crabs. They've got grinding plates that they'll crush up crabs and hard-shelled stuff.
Yeah,
so like you said, they're harmless. And, fully grown, they'll get 4 to 5 feet, and that would be like a monster. At least most of the time around here, they're 3 foot. But everyone right away, when it's a shark that's 3 foot, it's a baby.
Right, I know.
That's not a baby for that species.
No.
When we catch the great whites, the juveniles that we catch, they're about 3 to 4 feet, and that's a shark that's a couple months old.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I do want to jump in here and just say also that out of the 350 different species of sharks, only about 30 actually are interested in humans and attack us. And most shark bites, they don't even want to be biting humans. They bite to see what you are and then realize, you're a stupid human, and then they move on. But unfortunately, because of their bite, that could be deadly. But they don't want to actually eat humans in general unless they're starving, right?
Yeah, and see, that's the biggest thing, and that's unfortunately, just last week, there was a fatality up in Maine. A lady was swimming and got attacked by a white shark, and unfortunately, it was fatal.
Wow!
And it's sad when it happens. I mean, it's definitely something you don't want it to happen to anybody.
Of course.
But when you look at the numbers in the world, there's about on average 100 attacks worldwide.
Yeah.
In a year.
Right.
And the thing that drives me crazy the most, I guess, about sharks and fear is people will freak out. Like you said, you see a shark, they freak out. I'm never going swimming again. But that same person will jump behind the wheel of their car without a thought of fear or anything. And chances are you were going to get in a car accident way before you even see a shark.
Yes.
And that kind of stuff. Like, I just wish if people had that kind of fear when they drive, maybe there would be less accidents. I mean, we all know somebody that's either been in a fatal car accident or a really bad car accident.
Yeah.
But, we still jump behind the wheel. We play on our phone while we're driving. We're eating a Sloppy Joe sandwich, doing our hair, whatever we're doing. It's just, it's kind of crazy.
I laugh because fear is irrational, obviously. And I popped up here on the old website, things that'll kill you before a shark. And number one is heart disease, but we're not scared. Like we were just talking about red meat and burgers. I'm actually scared of heart disease, and there's a little bit of that in my family. So I actually take that very seriously. But people will not go in the water because they're scared of sharks, but they'll just pound burgers all day long. And cancer and having a stroke and the flu will get you before a shark attack. And like you said, car accidents, suicide, falling down, drowning. And here's one, bike accidents. You're more likely to die from a bike accident than a shark attack, but that doesn't help you when you go into the ocean. You still are scared shitless. Actually, you could die of fireworks before a shark attack, and lightning strikes, and sun and heat exposure.
And the thing is too, nobody wants to be a statistic. Nobody wants to be that person that 1 in a million chance got attacked by a shark. So I think that's where a lot of that comes into fear. And we've all seen Jaws. We've all seen the movies. And
can we talk about Jaws for a second? That's where my fear came from. Like many people my age. So my whole life I've lived near water. My grandma's house in Wading River. Now I got a house on the ocean here, way out east on Long Island. And that damn Jaws movie, man. And it was that scene with the girl that was skinny dipping and the sun's going down. I swam as the sun was going down 1,000,000 times. It's a great time of day to go swimming. And then there's the shot, the underwater shot, and you can see she's naked and you can almost see her boobs, and then you can almost see some of the dirty parts, but not really because they filmed it such. So that the scene was so sexy, and she's calling the guy to come into the water with her naked, and you're like, oh my God, this is so erotic. And then, of course, she gets eaten by the shark, and they show her part of her body later on in the seaweed, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that scene was so sexy and so scary at the same effing time, and that did it for my whole generation. At that moment, we all were scared to go swimming in the water, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that movie, like you said, did it to a lot of people, and even today, it still puts fear in people. And
oh yeah,
but looking at that as enticing of a swim that was, that's probably the worst time to really be swimming if you were concerned about sharks. Dawn and dusk. That's typically when they're feeding. So there's definitely things you could do if you want to be safer about it.
Sure. No, it's funny though. Guys are just stupid creatures, and if there was a really hot girl that wanted to go swimming as the sun's going down, and you could see the fins of sharks just circling in the water, and she's calling you, and she's naked in that water, we're so quickly going to go, okay, give me a minute to get naked. I'll be in there in a second.
Yeah, no, you're right.
We're like, fuck fear. She's hot.
I'll take my chances.
Right. But that did it for all of us. And unfortunately, I listed a whole bunch of things you could die from before shark attacks, but it doesn't. As soon as you hit that water, though, and you wade out a little bit, and maybe you're over your head, man, your mind gets the best out of you. And then you feel safer when you're in 3-4 feet of water. But the fact is, a lot of shark attacks happen in what, 3 feet of water?
Yeah, I don't know the exact depth, but you're right. It's a lot. It's more. It's shallower than you would actually think. 2 summers ago here on the island, there was a couple, a girl and a young boy, I think, that were bitten by sharks. And I'm using the term bitten as opposed to attacked because it was proven that they were bitten by sand tiger sharks. Now, they can get 300 to 400 pounds. They can get huge.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you typically see at public aquariums. And they have big, gnarly, long teeth that are exposed, and they're fish eaters. They're picking fish, and they live in the surf zone. They also live in the bays.
Right.
Great South Bay is an actual known nursery for them, and tiny little eyes, so they don't use their vision very well. But if you got a bunch of people swimming in the surf zone and one of those sharks enters there looking for some small fish, flounder, sea robin, things like that, and then all of a sudden starts getting spooked, and there's always people, and it starts taking off, those teeth are going to rake a leg or something like that. So again, those ones weren't like a specific attack because they eat fish. So like you said earlier, we're not on the menu for a shark like that. We don't look like their meal. We don't look like a sea robin. The other extreme, though, is, for the bigger sharks like white sharks, they eat seals. So someone like us swimming or on a boogie board, I know you were talking about boogie boards the other day, you kind of look like an injured seal or, something that's not, you look like an easy meal. Same thing with like bass and bluefish. You could take a metal lure and cast it out and reel it in, and catch a bass or a bluefish, but not because they like to eat metal. To that predator, that's an injured fish. That's
right.
An easy meal. There's less risk involved in getting hurt. I'm just going to go grab that easy thing. So, so something like a white shark, again, they're going to go after something large that we kind of look like, but like sand tigers and duskies and sandbars and whatnot, they're eating fish, skates, things that we generally don't fit that description. So that's where a lot of it is really a big mistaken identity.
I'm glad you mentioned the boogie boards. I'm obsessed to this day. I got a boogie board, and I love doing that. And the bottom of my boogie board is white. I'm like, you idiot. It makes it look more like a seal to me.
So think about this, though, actually. So the white bottom actually is going to help you.
Oh, really?
So that's so on a fish or a seal or a penguin, I'm thinking a bunch of different animals.
Yeah.
If you notice, a lot of them have a white belly.
Yes.
And a dark top, and that's known as counter shading.
Okay.
So what happens is if you're, let's say, a seal or a penguin or something that's up on the surface with a white belly, and there's a shark below you looking up, well, when you look up underwater, what do you see? You see bright light, right?
Right.
So if you're white, you kind of blend in with the sky above, and hopefully you're not seen. That's a type of camouflage. When you're swimming down deep with a dark back and there's a predator up above you looking down, they don't see you as easily because you blend in with the dark, deep ocean below.
Right.
So having a white paddle belly of a boogie board is probably in your favor.
Why weren't you my friend 10, 15 years ago, man? When I got this state-of-the-art boogie board, I spent a lot of money on it, and I've been paranoid ever since, and it turns out that the white underbelly is actually good. All right, that's going to help.
There you go. It's counter shading. You're all set, man. If you had a darker bottom to your boogie board, then I'd be a little bit more concerned.
Oh, okay. And then I got a paddle board, and I'm obsessed with trying to go as far out in the ocean as I can. And then as I get further and further out, and I'm standing on this thing, I'm like, oh my God, what's under me right now? I get so freaked out, man. And like I said, I've been, I was brought up, next to the water more or less, but I'm thinking whales and everything else are below me. And then I get scared and have to start paddling back into shore.
I think that's the thing, man. It's an unknown. You can't see it.
Right.
It's kind of no different than if I took you and dropped you in the middle of the woods somewhere. You don't know, are there tigers, are there bears, are there lions? Who the hell knows wherever I drop you in the world? It could be all sorts of big predators. But again, in the woods, you don't know. It's that you can't see it type of thing. I think that's the same thing with the ocean.
Can we back up a second? You were talking about that poor woman in Maine. I meant to ask you, what were the details of that? Was she in shallow water? Was she out pretty far? Do you know?
I'll be honest, I don't have all the details on that one, but what I heard was she was in a wetsuit and she was swimming.
Wow.
Which the wetsuit makes sense because it's Maine, man. That water does not get above 50 in the summer, so it's cold. And again, there's a lot of seals up there, but this was the first ever attack in Maine. So that kind of brings back to the point we were talking about earlier. As things warm, everything kind of shifts and moves a little bit further north,
right,
as temperatures, as the ocean gets a little warmer. So that's, something that someone in Maine might never have even thought twice about because, we're too far north. But now, it's not like it was a few years ago. So it's, 10, 20 years ago. Things are definitely changing.
I'm kind of mad because this coronavirus, we were supposed to go tagging for sharks. You were going to bring me, and we were going to do a whole episode on the boat. Instead, we're doing it this way, which is fine. But but you've been tagging sharks, no?
Yeah, we've been it's made things a lot more difficult for us, but we have, we've been going out, we've been taking our precautions, using multiple boats and whatnot, but we've had a fairly successful season. So I am part of the South Fork Natural History Museum's Shark Research and Education Program. So sofo.org if you're interested, but it pretty much started as four friends that went to college together out here at Southampton University, and four of us graduated. We're all in the field together, and of different aspects. One's a teacher, one's a researcher, another's the director of the museum. And we kind of was tagging sharks just for kind of fun and helping with science by just tagging them. And then one of the sharks that we tagged, me and my buddy Greg Metzger, we tagged it about 5 miles outside of Shinnecock. So for those that don't know where Shinnecock is, it's Southampton, so it's the eastern end of Long Island. And a year and 7 months, that shark was recaptured by a fisherman off the coast of Africa.
Oh, my
God.
So
it's 2,200 miles away. That shark right there kind of got us really excited, like, wow, we finally got a recapture on one of our sharks.
Yeah.
And then we had a researcher donate to us a $2,000 satellite tag, and we were able to put it out on a Young of the Year white shark, which is a Young of the Year is one that's born that year. And we did that in 2015, and we found out we were the first ones to ever tag a juvenile white shark in the Atlantic with a satellite pop-off tag.
Wow.
And then we're tagging other sharks, brown sharks, duskies. We're trying to get a satellite tag in a hammerhead. I just got a text before you called from our lead scientist, Toby Curtis, that the satellite tag that we tagged on a thresher about a month ago had just popped off. And so it records data while it's on the shark, and that programmed to come off at either a month, or we have a couple that are out for 53 days now, and they record data the whole time, and then they pop off and transmit the data to his laptop. And if we could find the tag, we actually can download even more data. So our social media will be posting about looking for this tag. Last summer we put out 6, and we got 5 of them back. I found one in Southampton. A lifeguard in New Jersey found one, and he took it home. This is a funny story. He took it home.
Right.
And Greg actually was driving to his house to get it when he finally called us to say, hey, I got your tag. So it was pretty cool.
You got researchers out there going, hey, the shark is driving a car right now.
Yeah, well, that's what was really funny. It was wait a second. It's going down Main Street.
Right. That's my attempt at doing Brian Regan. Hey, I think the shark is eating a hamburger.
But again, those Young of the Year white sharks are eating fish. They're not eating seals or things that look like a surfer or a paddleboarder or swimmer. They're eating sea robins, so you should like them. They're eating sea robins.
I hate sea robins. As a surfcaster, I gotta just say again, I hate sea robins. It makes me not fish for almost a month, starting this time until the fall, because you can't even sit on your fucking chair and enjoy a tune or a podcast or a beer. They just what we call them bait stealers. You cast in, and within seconds they're on your hook, and you could catch, no joke, if you're out there for 10 hours. You could catch close to 50 of them in 10 hours. It's a nightmare. And I use 2 hooks. I use a nice striper rig. And there's so many times that I'll get 2 sea robins on a hook, on a rig at the same time, and the same farmers. Oh my God, Harry, he caught 2 fish at the same time on your goddamn camera. And I'm like, lady, Jesus, stick around. You'll see me do this 10 times in a fucking row. It's not a big deal. It's a major pain in the ass, because now I got to get 2 sea robins that swallow the hook all the way down to their stomach. I got to try to figure out how to get those hooks out and save the fish, because I'm that type of fisherman. I'm not one of these guys that are yanking fish out of the ocean and just throwing them on the side to die. I actually try to do the right thing and get them back in the water and hope that they'll survive,
Yeah, but see, that's when you got to throw them in the cooler and fillet them up later. You've had my sea robin ceviche, and I got you to admit that was really good also.
I really enjoyed that. I was just talking to my neighbor about that because he's always sniffing around. He's like, have you caught any striped bass lately? And I'm like, relax. I'll get you a fish, but I got to take care of me first. And then, if I'll get a fresh one and then maybe one in the freezer. And then I'll start taking care of my neighbors around here. But I told the guy, I'm like, look, I'll go down there right now. I'll catch 20 sea robins if you want to fillet them up. He's like, And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, my friend Chris, he did a nice ceviche for me, and it was very, very tasty. Yeah. But I just don't want to deal with them because they're so familiar to me that I feel like I'm killing dogs. I feel like I'm killing puppies. When you see the sea robin over and over again, there's a familiarity about it that makes it creepy to kill one of them. I know it's a fucked up thought, but it is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I see a sea robin, I see beer battered tacos,
beautiful
I see fish and chips, I see ceviche, I've even eaten them raw. I've had them as sushi. I mean, it's not a piece of tuna, but it's doable.
Right. So we shouldn't be scared of sharks, is what it comes down to.
Not at all. I mean, respect. I like to tell people to respect the sharks, and like I said, we kill millions of them a year, every year, and they're a long-lived animal. A sand tiger, can live 50 years. White sharks can live at least 50 years. I mean, there's research that just came out now that a Greenland shark, which we don't have around here, they've lived over 400 years. So some of these things live for a long time. Wait, slow down. There was a shark that lived. Lives. It's today. It's the Greenland shark. If you Google Greenland shark and longest lived fish, it comes up, and it's a big shark that lives in the high northern regions of the Atlantic, and cold water and slow growing. And yeah, I mean, that's not uncommon for fish. I mean, that some of these fish, some of your especially deeper water fish can live for hundreds of years.
You're trying to tell me that this? I'm blown away. This particular shark can live for 400 years.
Yeah. Like I said, Google Greenland shark.
Yeah, I'm going to after the podcast. But so why? Here's a question for you, as being a marine biologist and whatnot. We're all trying to live longer as human beings. Why can't we figure out that there are actually things that live on this earth that live for hundreds of years? And why can't we figure out why that is the case and how we could use some of that knowledge to figure out how to get humans to live longer?
I think a lot of a lot of these animals that live a long time, like clams. There's been clams that live hundreds of years. They're typically cold water. Slow metabolisms, they're cold-blooded, they're not warm-blooded. I mean, that takes a lot of energy, and that just kind of starts burning you out, getting all the organs working and whatnot. And, I think that we're just different, I mean, there are mammals that, people, we live here a long time, then there's other animals, like even land, like Galapagos tortoises, they live for, hundreds of years.
Right.
But again, cold-blooded, slow-moving, not really in a rush to go anywhere. We're always in a freaking rush to go somewhere. I think that burns us out quicker.
Of course. It's funny you mentioned clams because as a fisherman, I told you off the podcast, but I had one of these assholes walk by my fishing pole. I leave it down at the ocean when I come up and have lunch or whatnot. And I go back and there's a note in the sand that says, "Stop killing fish." And I'm like, I'm the fish's best friend. I can't tell you how many fish I've thrown back into the ocean that, a wave will take him out of the ocean, and I'll throw them back in before the seagulls get them. I see these stupid clams as I take my walks in the morning, and they may live for hundreds of years, but man, are they dumb. They'll be on the shore with I think it's actually their foot, right? People think it's their tongue. And it looks like they're just licking the sand, but they're not. They're trying to figure out how to get back in the ocean. And I'll throw everything back in the ocean as possible. And the amount of fishing I do in the summer, I throw just about 99% of everything back. Actually, way more than 99%.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about respecting a resource. I mean, I do a lot of fishing, as you know. I eat a lot of seafood, as you know. I throw a lot of seafood back, though. I don't keep everything I catch. A lot of it's just, again, use it, don't abuse it, but unfortunately with a lot of fisheries, we've abused it. And like, with the sharks, I mean, we've, some species have, knocked their numbers down. And that's the other thing too. Like, so it's not even like they can reproduce quickly.
Right.
So like a shark might take 10 or 15 years to reach maturity. And when they do, some species might only give birth to 2.
Right.
And that's it. Yeah, granted it's a 2-foot long shark, so it has a better chance of survival. But if you then have to wait 15 years for that shark to reproduce again, as opposed to a sea robin that's, got hundreds of thousands of eggs when they spawn. And yeah, granted, most of them get eaten, but, they're reproducing quicker. They're living shorter. So there's definitely, it's fishery. Some things can just handle fishing pressure and others can, and as long as they're managed properly, hopefully it's there for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah, well, that's how much I respect the ocean life, because I hate sea robins, and I'll throw every single one of them back in. I was talking to my son about whales the other day, and that episode me and you did where we went whale watching is one of my favorites, by the way. It was so casual and it was fun and really, really enjoyable, and I hope I captured that day properly, because it was
it was awesome. I still get a ton of compliments about that episode.
It was amazing. But I was talking to my son about whales and how they could communicate with each other across the ocean. As a human being, that my mind is fucking blown by that. How is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, sound travels a lot further in water than it does, in air. But they're just different, man. I mean, but even look at other animals, like your dog.
Right.
Forget even about what your dog can hear, things that you can't hear. It's just, and I always wonder how many things that we've lost just because we've become civilized, and I'm using the air quotes there, you know what I mean? But it's migrations, how things travel around the world and can find their way back to places that they were born, or butterfly. I mean, this isn't even marine related, but butterflies. I mean, the monarch butterfly goes from Mexico to all the way to northern North America and back to Mexico, but it's not the one that left Mexico. It's the 4th generation. So 1 year in 4 generations, that last generation flies to Mexico where their great-great-grandparents were, a year previous. How do they figure that out?
It's amazing, because as human beings, I'm laughing because you nailed something. As far as migrating and all that goes, we have grinded down our senses, and now we're in a car for an hour with our GPS, and we're like, oh my God, how did I get here? You're not even paying attention anymore. And as far as grinding down the senses, you're so right. We play everything so loud in our ears, so we grind down our hearing. We're on our phones all day. We've grind down our eyesight. We put salt on everything, so our taste buds are just nothing at this point.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. And the GPS thing is a perfect example. I mean, right now, if I told you how to get somewhere, and or I took your phone away, and you're like, which way is north? So many people can't even point north or east. It's just like, we've lost that common, just knowing where the sun is to give you direction,
None of us are ready for the apocalypse, unfortunately. So to wrap up, sharks. You shouldn't be scared of sharks when you go in the ocean. What should you be scared of when you go in the ocean? Some of those, like maybe those tiny little pee-pee fish that go into your pee hole?
That's a freshwater Amazon fish, so you're okay unless you're going down the Amazon River. You're okay there.
Because I've heard horror stories with these tiny little fish. They're like, your pee hole's inviting to them, and then next thing you know, you're in a world of hurt.
Oh yeah, that you want to learn more about that? Your listeners could Google that one, because that is a legit thing. You're not making that up, But yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been doing this for a long time. I grew up in the water like you, and it's my profession. This is what I do for a living. I'm a marine scientist, and I've been hurt more in the ocean by man-made objects than I have ever really been by fish. I mean, I've cut my foot open on glass.
Oh yeah.
Things like that, more than I've been hurt by anything. I've taken more bites from crabs, than anything bigger, but all the things that people are generally afraid of. I mean, like sharks are the last thing, Worry about jellyfish. We're coming into August, and the lion's mane jellyfish are going to start moving inshore. And that sucks when you get stung by one of them, man. That hurts.
Yeah, they're not fun. I've noticed in recent years when I go into the ocean, the amount of times that a bag will wrap around my leg or other pollution. There's so much. I mean, I'm looking at the ocean right now as I do this podcast, and it looks like it's pristine and there's no pollution and whatnot. But if I go swimming after this, there's a very good chance that some kind of plastic will wrap around my leg. And of course, we talked about it in the past that that jellyfish is a huge food source for a lot of things that live in the ocean, and they swallow that up, and then they die, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, leatherback sea turtles. That's what they eat. They eat jellyfish, and to eat a jellyfish, their throat's got these like hairy fibers that go backwards, so they can kind of start swallowing, keeping it down. But if they grab a balloon or a bag, they don't know what it is, and they start eating it. And by the time they realize what it is, like, oh shit, I can't spit this back out again. So they swallow it and they starve to death, and that's a shitty way to go.
Unbelievable. All right, hey, Chris from Fish Guy Photos, always a pleasure. Your Instagram and your YouTube channel, amazing. I really, really enjoy your drone footage and your underwater stuff, and I've learned a lot, by the way. And if you want to listen to past episodes with Chris, we did the whale watching. We went hunting with the red-tailed hawk Emmy, and then we hung out at Mustache Brewery in Riverhead. That was an awesome episode too.
Made your brother squirm on that one.
Yeah, I did. But I want to wrap up. I remember from the whale watching episode, which is one of my favorites, by the way, you were talking about a whale that was still alive for hundreds of years. And what was the harpoon again? I just want to end with that.
Yeah, so they had found like a harpoon head, in a bowhead whale, which is again a northern cold water species, and that that dated back a couple hundred years, and it was one of those things that was like, wow, that whale survived an attack, a whaling attack there, and lived to tell about it.
That's what I was getting at. So this harpoon went in the whale in the early 1800s, and the damn thing was still alive.
Yeah. I mean, it buried in, and luckily it wasn't a fatal hit, and the whale did just fine. But it's crazy to think that stuff can be around for that long. Because I always when I hear about a fish that's 200 years old or 400 years old, I just think of the things that went on in this planet during that time. Right. That's even if like a 400-year-old Greenland shark. Think about the history of the world in 400 years. Right. That's a big difference. Yep. If that shark could speak and see what was going on, man, that would tell some stories. Of course. Well, thank you, my friend. Anything else you want to promote? No, man. I mean, this is, like I said, definitely follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm there. I hate Twitter, but I'm there if you really want to be on Twitter. But Fish Guy Photos. And, we need to do, like, hopefully this shit gets over soon here and we could do something. I'd love to get you out on the water on a boat and tag a shark, man. Let you reel it in, let you measure it, take fin clippings, tag the thing, do the whole workup, and that would be really awesome. So hopefully this shit goes away soon, and where we get to the bottom of it, and we can get you out there. Right on. Yeah, we'll get there. Say hi to your poodle and tell it I'm watching you. With those dumb dog ears that could hear everything. You're going to make me like poodles. Half of this is not even jokes. I hate poodles. They just look like assholes when they walk around New York. But that's just it. My dogs don't look like that, man. I'll send you a picture, man. I have normal dogs, man. I don't cut that whole froofy thing. I got a dog because it's a dog, man. And I'm allergic to dogs, and I didn't want a little lappy yap dog. So these dogs, my poodles are 60 pounds, man. These are real deal. All right. And I do take pleasure in the fact that poodles don't want to look like they look because they're stupid owners, where they get them groomed and make them look all silly and ridiculous. And I think that's why poodles are so angry all the time, because they see the reflection. Exactly. I wouldn't want to be cut like that. Yeah, they see the reflection in a storefront. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to look like this. I want to look like a goddamn German Shepherd. I'm just as mean as those bastards. All right, I'm babbling. Thank you, Chris. Man, it was great talking with you. And like I said, let's catch up soon. Boo, 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 boo. Radio. Boo, 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 boo. Boom, boom, boom. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, boo, boo.